All right, everybody, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Atlanta News First Alert Desk. I'm Savannah Louie. We got your top 5 stories for this evening, and we're going to start off here with a story that has just captivated our entire country. Not even our entire country, the entire world, it seems like here. The missing submersible. Big announcement made earlier today. We've learned that that submersible has been found and that the submersible carrying 5 people to the Titanic imploded near the site of that shipwreck. Everybody on board is dead. That's according to authorities today. Now, Coast Guard officials said during a news conference they've notified the families of the crew of the Titan, that's that submersible, which had been missing since Sunday. Many people were hopeful that this vessel would be found. We knew that the submersible had a 96-hour supply of oxygen that was expected to run out earlier today, but unfortunately, the Coast Guard announced that debris had been found about 1,600 feet from the Titanic in North Atlantic waters. Now, it is too early to tell when exactly this happened, but the submersible is not believed to have come into contact with the Titanic wreck at all, and experts say they do not believe any banging sounds that were recorded near the site earlier this week were related to the missing vessel. Now, I want to point out here, one of the passengers on board, Paul Henry Nargeolet, he's also known as Titanic's greatest explorer. Well, he worked for a Gwinnett County company, RMS Titanic Incorporated. He has led a number of missions to the Titanic, including about half a dozen with the company that owned this submersible. So he was very familiar with the Titanic and all of its stories. And tonight, Atlanta News First, Joshua Skinner is going to be speaking with people here who knew him. Again, very tragic story, tragic ending to the story. No one was hoping for that kind of conclusion here. Hate to bring that update to you guys, but I know that it is one that we've been following very closely. And again, Joshua Skinner going to be having more on that later tonight on Peachtree TV and WANF. Hopefully you can tune in for that one. All right, I want to move straight ahead here to another story, this coming out of the metro Atlanta area, specifically Brookhaven. All right, so when you suffer some sort of health emergency, you want to know that help is going to come just like that, quickly, not having to wait. Unfortunately, though, some folks in Brookhaven say they're waiting much too long and it's getting a little dangerous. Now, people who live in Brookhaven say slow ambulance response times could be putting patients at risk. And tonight, city leaders are calling on DeKalb County to fix the problem and to fix it fast. Brookhaven uses DeKalb County's ambulatory services, which are run by American Medical Response, also known as AMR. Brookhaven Police Chief Brandon Gurley says it's not uncommon for residents to wait upwards of 50 minutes for emergency medical assistance in some cases. And the police department is even training officers now on a higher level of medical care and providing them with trauma kits specifically due to these slow response times. If DeKalb can't fix the problem, Gurley says they'll have to ask the state to let them establish their own ambulance service for the city. AMR acknowledged the slow response time, citing staffing shortages and the growing number of people in the DeKalb County community. We actually have their full statement. You can find that on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. But this is going to be a story that is developing, and as we continue to learn more, we'll update you online with some of those developments. Our Chelsea Bimford was on that story for us earlier today. All right, we have told you time and time again about violence impacting our youth here in the metro Atlanta area. We hate reporting on it as much as you probably hate hearing it, but some hope tonight as city officials and leaders are announcing a strategy to hopefully keep kids safer and out of trouble. This is called Operation Heatwave. Atlanta police are ramping up their efforts to fight gang violence this summer. Now, for the second year in a row, they have launched Operation Heatwave, and the Atlanta Police Department is deploying a 16-week crackdown on people driving violent crime across the city. Officers will be in areas known for high weapon offenses, along with gang and drug activity. Now, police say, sadly, they've encountered too many minors with guns. Atlanta police say last year's inaugural operation, by the way, was a success, as homicides were down 29%, aggravated assaults down 26%, and robberies dropped 14%. That's compared to the same time period in 2021. All right, I do want to steer away from crime, and let's jump into politics here, as we're already looking toward the 2024 presidential election. And tonight we're tracking new strategies by the DNC to get more voters on board with certain campaigns. We're calling this a media blitz, or rather, they are. And you can see here one of the things you can expect: billboards with a message. Now, Saturday, by the way, marks 1 year since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which, of course, ended those federal protections for abortion. And today, a new ad campaign in Georgia highlights the controversial case in our state and around the country. Leaders believe that abortion rights are going to be a hot-button issue for voters and potential voters. That's why it is becoming such a topic of conversation and part of these ad campaigns. The Democratic National Committee has launched a 6-figure ad campaign in Georgia, and that includes some of those billboards you saw earlier. It also includes social media along with TV ads. And again, this is all an effort to fire up the base and get people to vote for pro-choice candidates. Again, there's a look at one of those billboards you can expect to see if you drive around Georgia. Keep an eye out for those. All right, final story for tonight. Real quick, wanted to make you guys aware of this awful story here. I'm wondering who is responsible for this. And so are police, by the way. Someone, maybe more than one person, vandalized a memorial for veterans in Lumpkin County. This is terrible. Who would do this? Within the past week, no one expected to see this. More than a dozen memorial markers honoring deceased veterans were just damaged. You hate to see it. This all happened in the heart of the city. Now, Police Chief George Albert said someone vandalized 13 of the more than 1,000 markers placed around the town, leaving bits and pieces of that debris scattered through South Chestatee Street. Dahlonega police continue to investigate this incident, hoping to find the person or people responsible. Again, this is in Lumpkin County. If you know anything about this, you are asked to contact police. Give them a lead, give them a tip. We all want to honor our veterans, and no one likes to see that. All right, guys, but for now, so glad that you could join us tonight. It is 8:10. You know what that means. We have meteorologist Patrick Pete on deck. Let's send you outside with a picture of, wow, look, you can see Midtown Atlanta pretty far in the distance here, also along with some cloudy skies there. So I think the question here is, Patrick, what are these cloudy skies going to bring? Or are we saying goodbye to the cloudy skies, right? It's supposed to be pretty nice this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen breaks in the clouds over the course of the last few hours that allow for temperatures to warm up. So instead of being in the 70s like we've been the last couple of days, we actually hit 80 across a large chunk of the area. The further south you were, the better chance that you saw some of that. So definitely trending into a better direction as we head through the next couple of days. There we go. Thank you. So happy Thursday. Good to see you. Hopefully you were having a pretty good day. I know that today was a better day than the last two. There were some showers around, but not as much in coverage as we have been tracking all week. So listen, we're all happy about marching towards the weekend. The forecast looking a whole lot brighter. I do think that we'll have to contend with a few spotty showers tomorrow. Nothing like what we saw the last few days. Want to make sure I reiterate that. Less coverage, less intensity, just a little bit of rain here or there. I do think we'll see an abundance of sunshine, and that's going to equal some warmer numbers. Saturday is going to be gorgeous as far as the skies are concerned. Temperatures do get a little bit warmer, and we're also going to have to deal with some humidity as we head towards portions of your Sunday into Monday. Another first alert for another round of showers and storms, and then drying out by Tuesday. Something else of note, looking good outside right now, but I do think that we're going to see some areas of fog develop as we head through the early morning hours tomorrow. So I want you to be prepared for that as you get out on the roadways as well. So let's walk through the next couple of days, and what we're seeing for tomorrow morning is partly cloudy skies. You can see that rain chance is somewhere around 20 to 30%. Spotty showers are going to be possible mainly in the afternoon. By 5 o'clock, you can see some of that energy firing up. Not going to be surprised if some of you run into some areas of shower activity when you're making your way home from work, but we do expect that to subside pretty quickly, and we don't expect it to be widespread. Clearing out just in time for any of your late night Friday plans. So hour by hour, we'll be in the upper 60s by the time you're punching the clock. I do expect lunchtime to be quite nice with numbers in the mid to upper 70s across North Georgia. And then we're headed for the low to mid 80s as we head into the afternoon, just depending on where you are. So it's going to feel quite nice to be out and about if you conduct those spotty showers. Saturday's forecast is going to start off yet again on the milder side, a little bit cooler than average for the morning, low to mid 60s, climbing pretty quickly into the 80s around lunchtime. We'll be at 83 here in Atlanta. 81 in Calhoun, 84 in Thomaston, 81 in Athens. Gonna be a gorgeous day. Some high clouds push through, but just enough sunshine to really just make it comfortable to be out and about. Meanwhile, we'll see some slightly warmer numbers for your Sunday. Here is the latest on Brett. Tropical Storm Brett. We told you about Brett last night. Winds sustained at 65 miles per hour, moving to the west at 16. This puts it about 55 miles southeast of St. Lucia, and you can see from the satellite imagery, you don't see as much dark red, so you don't see as much deeper convection around that center of circulation. You can also kind of see that fanning out. This is going to continue to move into an environment that is full of wind shear, so we do expect for this to gradually weaken over the course of the next couple of days and then eventually dissipate into just a remnant low sometime early Sunday morning. So thankfully not looking at U.S. impacts. And behind that, we're continuing to monitor Tropical Depression 4. The thunderstorm activity has kind of blossomed over the course of the day today, especially around that center of circulation. And while the system is not very organized, the center has become a little bit more organized. You can kind of pick out a little bit of that rotation if you stare hard enough at that satellite imagery. Winds are sustained at 35 and it's moving to the west-northwest. Now, Tropical Depression 4 is going to move into an area that's still very warm. The sea surface temperatures of the Atlantic Basin is warmer than it should be this time of year. And while there is a little bit of wind shear around, we don't think that wind shear is going to be enough to inhibit it at least through the next 48 to 72 hours. But once we get past that time period, it's going to interact with the system that's going to be coming off of the East Coast. And as it does, that's going to increase the wind shear, which means it should weaken it. So sometime by the beginning to middle of next week, we should just be talking about a remnant low. But the next name on the list is Cindy, and all guidance is pointing towards us seeing a Cindy name sometime between the next 12 to 24 hours. So don't be surprised if we're talking about a new tropical storm later tonight when we get our next update or early in the morning. So speaking of the home forecast, because I don't think many of us have plans to be in the Caribbean anytime, at least not today, not tomorrow. Our home forecast is trending warmer. It's going to start to feel like summer. Mid to upper 80s for your Saturday and Sunday with a pretty dry forecast. The good news about Monday's system is it was looking a whole lot more aggressive than it looks today. We're still first alerting it because there still looks like there will be some thunderstorm potential, but doesn't look like it's going to be as energetic as it looked to be the last couple of days. We'll, of course, stay on top of that. And it's going to be a quick mover, so instead of sticking around for 4 days, it's going to be out. And by Tuesday, we're looking at some pretty dry conditions. Warming temperatures into the upper 80s on Wednesday, and then back to 90 on Thursday. So I'll send you one more time outside while I check YouTube. I know a lot of you are joining us at home on Roku and Amazon Prime, but I can interact with the people that are on YouTube right now. If I can find my little tab. There we go. Good evening. You guys aren't that talkative on YouTube tonight, so I'm going to let you live your best life and leave you with the 7-day forecast, and you can catch us on Peachtree TV at 9 and 10, and then on Atlanta News First at 11. Happy Thursday.